Hello, and welcome to Soft Human Voice. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you remember your source and divine connection. And I want you to know that you're not alone. You are loved, you're wise, you are intuitive, you have way more co-creative power than you think, you are more connected than you think, and I want us to remember this together. In case you don't know me, I'm Jessica Shepard. I'm an astrologer, I'm a healer, I'm an intuitive guide. I'm an author of 5 published books so far, and I have a 6th waiting for a home on the subjects of astrology, spirituality, and awakening. My most recent publication is Intuitive Energy Divination Deck, which is an oracle deck I designed to help you reconnect with your true self and your intuition. And it's inspired by where I live here in Hawaii. I live in Honolulu, and also my most recent awakening. So my desire, as I said, for this podcast is that it's a space to remember who we truly are. I mean, we're in this very vulnerable human experience, right? Sometimes that vulnerability hits more than others. And then we also have this ability to connect to source, to divinity, to God, whatever you want to call that connection. And we are capable of experiencing great magic, great miracles, transformation, transcendence over what we might not even think is possible to transcend and heal. And I wanted to introduce this episode in this way specifically because Debra Martin is here today, and she is a world-renowned intuitive healer and 3-time near-death experiencer. This is Debra's bio. She gave this to me. I like reading in people's own words. This is what she'd like you to know. So she's a 3-time near-death experiencer, cancer, and survivor whose life's work is to help people experience the miraculous love and healing power of God. An international research lab certified medium with the Windbridge Research Center, she has developed a unique healing technique that unites mediumship and energy healing in a way not found anywhere else. Featured on A&E documentaries, Hay House Radio, Coast to Coast AM, and 3 Gaia Beyond Belief episodes with George Norrie, she is also the author of 6 books, including Proof of Miracles, which I just read. It's so inspiring. Through private sessions, global group healings, and divinely guided meditations, Debra brings comfort, transformation, and hope, reminding people that miracles are real and that nothing is too big or too small to heal. And you can learn more about Debra at debramartinhealer.com. And of course, she will be linked in this podcast under the episode information. So welcome again, Debra. Thank you for agreeing to be on Soft Human Voice. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Such an honor. Such an honor.
Thank you. I feel like the honor is all mine. You definitely have some street cred, as we say, and just being interviewed by people. And so I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Same here. Mm-hmm.
So Debra came through on the day that my beloved dog Magnus died. And I was in the middle of it. And then I'm like, oh, this wonderful person, Debra Martin, who happens to be a psychic medium, is agreeing to talk to me. How interesting is that? I've just been in this world too long and been open to and received so many radical demonstrations, however you want to say it, that I just see synchronicity. So I saw synchronicity at work, and I was like, I'm not quite ready to talk yet because I was feeling really tender. But I said, I felt into it, and I was like, maybe next week. So just since then, started reading your book, Proof of Miracles. It was very comforting to me during this process.
Thank you.
Debra talks a lot about working through grief with helping your clients to find that sense of peace, because you are able to connect with the other side. And so I would love it if you could just kind of maybe start with your journey to mediumship, since we're already kind of on this topic of of death, grief, connecting with the other side, and how you got to where you are.
Well, I've always had the gift, but when I was younger, I turned it off. And so then through 2 car accidents, my first car accident, if you see the pictures in my book, you'll be like, how did she ever survive? And through that, I heard a premonition. I knew that it was going to happen before it happened. And I said, no, I'm a single mom, save me. And I said it before impact. Now, I didn't even know what a premonition was, right, at that time. But when I was hit, we spun. The car came to a stop facing other online traffic because we were on a freeway. And somebody out of nowhere came and lifted us out of the car. It was never seen before. And it kind of was like, well, who was that? Where did this person come from? And I opened myself up to, maybe that's divine, like a divine angel. Is that possible? So that kind of opened my awareness. I started peeking, exploring, going to conferences, reading books to the afterlife. My second NDE was another car accident. And that one, I actually had an out-of-body experience. And when I had an out-of-body experience, I was now talking to a being that was standing behind me. But I was watching everything. Like, I'm not going to survive that. There's no way I'm going to survive that. But I was asked if I was ready, and I knew what that meant. And I was like, no, I'm not ready. My children still need me. And in a split second, I was back in my car. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I heard the guy that was going to crush me talk to the police officer by my window and saying, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm listening to their conversation. I'm like, wait a minute. I saw everything that was happening from above. So that point, I'm like, I can hear spirit. I know what's going on. And so that led me down the path to getting tested as a medium, because I started hearing voices, seeing things, and I went to Veritas, to Dr. Gary Schwartz and Dr. Julie Beischel, and got tested as a medium. So I heard a voice say, are you ready? At that moment, I said, no, I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. And, I have 3 children. So I was like, no, but that split second I said that, I found myself in the backseat of my car. And when I was in the other dimension, there was no way I was going to survive that. So as I'm now in the backseat of my car, I am listening to a police officer talking to the gentleman that should have killed me. And he was shooken up. And that's now all downloading. I'm going, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I saw that. And it shook me to the core. Like, where was I? Who was I talking to? Now I'm hearing spirit, right? And it just opened that whole door of communication. Like, there's more. There's another dimension. We can connect with them. We can hear them. And so I started opening my mediumship up, practicing with friends. And then I went and got tested at Veritas with Dr. Gary Schwartz and Dr. Julie Beischel. And I passed the test, and that's where my mediumship came.
Right. Yeah. So Veritas means truth. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's really cool. So you've had this validation, like you needed it, but
you do, though. You do need it, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
We get the information, but we don't know if it's true. Yeah. Right? We have to trust it. So having science as my backbone, everything that gave me the confidence to say, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Without that, I don't know if I would have been as strong.
Interesting. So in terms of like mediumship, in your book, you talk about how this actually started as a child, which you mentioned, and you had these experiences of, I see dead people or seeing disembodied spirits. How old were you when that started happening for you?
Around 4. I hadn't gone to school, wasn't with all the other noise that's happening. So I think they thought this is the perfect time to get her. And it would always be at night, always when I was alone, always in my bed. And I would see these faces looking right at me. And it was startling and scary. And I was frightened. I didn't want to go to bed. I didn't want to be there. And the only way I could tune them out, I mean, I was hearing their names, I was seeing their faces. That's all that they were saying. They were coming in, sharing. I felt scared, but they were just showing their face and telling me their name.
So they weren't of malintent per se.
No, but you don't know the difference, right? Absolutely. You're just feeling that. So I would always turn away and go, I'm not going to listen to them. And the more that I would hear them, I would take my nail and scratch into my wooden dresser next to me, like the sound of their first name, their first letter. Wow. And that would just distract, and then they would go away. So later in life, though, as I did develop my mediumship, I said, okay, I need to ask, why did you come to me when I was little? Why did I feel so frightened? Why did you keep coming to me knowing that I was scared?
Yeah.
And they said, well, we weren't there to scare you. We were there to give you an awareness that we're there. We were there to guide you and let you know that you weren't alone. And I look at that because in my childhood, I went through some hard struggles. And so to know that now, going, oh, that makes sense. Mm. And it kind of embraced me, going, okay, they're never going to hurt children. They're never going to come to scare you. They're just there to protect and love you. But in that time, when I was growing up, mediumship wasn't anything that we talked about or that I heard about. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to describe that to my parents. So I didn't talk about it. Mm-hmm.
So when you'd have these experiences and you would be afraid, would you tell your mom, or you just... No.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I was silent.
Mm-mm. I mean, I really resonated with that part of your story. Well, certain other aspects of your story too. But when I remember being a child, and I don't sense in the same way you do, but I'm more of a feeler, more sensory, and I would, and auditory. So I sense and I heard, and I remember just being terrified out of my mind once and just being like, no, I do not want this. I do not want this. So did you kind of go through something similar?
Same thing. Mm-hmm. No, go away. No, hiding, turning my head to them, ignoring them. Yeah. Yes, whole thing.
Like just shut it down, because I do not have infrastructure to support this awareness. Nobody was there guiding me. And you said your father was a medium, but you didn't have
I don't think he knew it.
He didn't.
So what happened is when my mother passed, I knew my dad was really grieving. Mm-hmm. And he had told me one day, I was sitting in the car and your mom showed up in the passenger seat and just started talking to me. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget that, because it was so real to him. But I was, oh, Dad's really lost it. He's really, because I didn't develop that till years later. Mm-hmm. And then I look back and go, oh, wow, if I could have just embraced that. Because that would have gave me peace, like it gave him peace. But here I'm just, it's okay. Just listen. Do not judge. Listen.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that so much of this is cultural, what our parents allow us to, what they let in, right? For themselves. It's what they learned to shut out or let in. And then, cultural reinforcements are not strong for these extraordinary gifts.
Yeah, and even children now, right? If their parents don't want that door open, they don't believe in that, they're not going to say anything.
Yeah. So do you think that's a common experience? Because I had it, you had it. And then, later in life when, we're struggling with something and something happens and we could really use a connection to something beyond our mind, I just often wonder, gosh, wouldn't it be so cool if we had actually had support in this kind of, I don't know what you would call it, interdimensional connection, or at least learning how to trust the nonlinear, non-logical, irrational that comes through.
Yeah, it's a heart-to-heart connection because it's just so true. It's truth. But I feel a lot of it, everybody went to their own church. Their faith was their way, and their faith not necessarily opened this door, not always. And so I think if you would have brought it up, they might have said, something's wrong with you. Right? So, but I wasn't told it was right or wrong because I never said anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when you did say something, when you did decide to kind of explore this aspect of yourself as a medium, is that a point when all of your relationships had to change and your life had to dramatically reshift to accommodate this new being? Or was it at the next instance, your third near-death experience?
Kind of both. I tried to stay true to my authentic self. I think that's one of my biggest practices, because if we can do that, we're always staying true to ourselves and we're honoring who we are and who we were created to be, right? And we all have our own gifts, our own beliefs. But I wasn't there to make anybody believe that this was real. That was not my job. And nor was I going to, if I would go to a makeup counter and feel that this woman lost her husband, I would say to the spirit, no, I'm not saying anything. You want me to say something? Ethically, this is wrong. She might not be ready. Have her tell me that she lost her husband. And 9 out of 10 times, then the woman would say, I'm just so sorry. I just lost my husband. And so then that would lead into it, but never cross that line. So far as friends, you knew who you could share with and who you don't share with. And eventually everybody did know what I did. And they either, stayed kind of away from it or they'd embrace it. But they honored me for who I was. And I knew that sometimes I didn't want people to know it all, because it was like, can I just have a day off? Can I just go to an event with some friends and nobody tell anybody what I do? Because then they're all like, well, can you read me? Can you do this?
Right.
So I knew I wanted to shut it off. I didn't want it on all the time. Just to have boundaries with spirit too.
Yeah.
Right. Because when I first dabbled into it, it was like I was being bugged all the time. So you have to learn to have these boundaries. And it's okay. Like, I've helped a lot of children and teenagers that were being frightened by them. They were always showing up and scared. And I said, tell them to stop. And they're like, that's all I have to do? And I'm like, yeah, you have the power to say, I don't want this. And people get suicidal over it, and they don't know that it's that simple. You have the power to tell them no. But they just know you have the gift. So they're like, oh, well, she's listening, right? It's no harm. Yeah. And it's not to hurt us. It's just because they're excited.
Yeah. I love that. I love you bringing that up, because that was another aspect of your story I resonated with when I was swimming and thinking about that. What you went through in terms of having to go through these experiences of tremendous energy opening and awakening to new experiences within yourself after these shifts. It's like, I think you were recovering something, obviously, from the mediumship, and then we'll talk about the intuitive healing piece of it. But, something you've always been, someone you've always been. But it's still like these points in our life where there are these dramatic transformations where I've been through my own awakening where what was down is up now. And I remember saying to a teacher of mine at the time that I should have died and been reborn, with the level of lessons and the level of difference that I was walking back into my old life that was brand new again, right? And it took me years to integrate what I was learning, which for me, it was empath and energy sensitivity. Suddenly I could feel what the neighbors were feeling. Suddenly I knew things about people through my sensory body. I started like, well, who am I in this? What do I feel? And what's the difference between what I feel and what you feel? So it was just there. Everything I had learned about, walking through the world and taking care of myself and being who I was just was totally flipped. And it was so incredibly difficult. And it was a major challenge, and it was an adversity. So I know you've been through several of those experiences of like coming back into you're like the same Debra, but you're not.
Right. You're not. It shifts you. It does shift you. And it's like an awakening, and it is almost like a rebirth. And we don't ask for it. It just happens. I mean, we have many shifts, good shifts, bad shifts. We have loss, right? That's a shift. We have children that are born, into the family. That's a shift. Weddings, Like there are all kinds of different shifts, but when it becomes a spiritual shift, it hits you to the core where you can't deny it. Like you can't deny that you're sensing something from a neighbor, like you're feeling it, you can't help it. And it's like, so what's my role? What am I supposed to do with this? And that's what you can work with spirit with. What do you want? What do you want from me? Teach me, show me, lead me, guide me, but at least tell me, because I'm here, I'm present, I'll be your instrument, but what do I do? What do you want me to do? Right?
So was that like, it's so funny because before we got on the call today, I was remembering this poem, this dedication I had written that was basically that, like, make me your instrument, like, what am I not knowing? Show me how to know. What am I not clearly seeing? Show me how to clearly see. What am I, hiding from? What do I need to let go? Just make me your instrument. I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm here. And I think that also what you had just said about the power of choice of like, well, I don't want this, okay, spirit, disembodied spirit showing up in the middle of whatever, my dinner. I don't want you here right now. That we have the ability also, I had to learn that as energy sensitive, because the boundaries are differently defined in this realm. It's not like energetic boundaries are very different from the boundaries that people classically talk about, putting boundaries on your time or with your relationships. Energetic boundaries are something you have to learn.
They are, and they're really important to set in place so that you can continue to live your life too, right? Yep. That you don't always have to be in that realm, have balance. But I do feel like it's very much a part of my everyday now. Prayer is really big for me. It's one of those things that if I'm struggling or having concerns or worry, I'm going to go right into prayer. It's like a meditation and say, you know what? Here, I can't hold this. If I hold this all day, it's going to take me down, and this isn't going to serve me. So I'm going to give this to you, God, and I'm going to trust the process because we can't control it. We don't know the outcome. But that just frees me, right? And so it's learning what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And I believe there's no right or wrong way. We can talk about, does everybody have the gift? Right? I think everybody does have the gift, but I feel like it's up to them if they choose to tune into that connection. Some people never want to have that. That's okay. Do you have to have an NDE? No. Some of us are born naturally with it. Some of us have to work hard to learn how to connect. But I really believe that we all have the gift. We're not chosen, right? And we can fine tune it to be our own and work with spirit in our own way. There's so many books out there and everybody reads them and says, oh, I want to do it that way. I got to do this and I got to take notes from this. It's like, get that clutter out of there and just do it your own way, because your way with spirit is the right way. Right. But there is no wrong or right way.
Right. And I think that we've been given this idea of this is what intuition looks like, or this is what connecting looks like, and usually by like one or two people.
Right. And the tools do help us. They help us, grow and connect. Yeah. But don't be afraid to, wander, dabble, play, and see what comes your way. And just always protect yourself too. In the beginning, didn't realize, protect myself with the light. Only the good light can come in. Now it's like, that's all that comes. So.
Yeah. And you did talk about that in your book. I read that you had
to learn.
You had to learn. You had an experience with that where you were like, oh, wait, the solution to being out of the darkness is bringing in my light. Being in light entirely. Right. Yeah.
And there is always dark, but light always puts out dark. It's like walking into a dark room. You turn on the light puts out the dark. Think of it that way. Always.
Always. So learning to anchor into that, learning to say no. And I have a girlfriend who has had that encounter where a spirit has appeared to her and she's like, no, I don't want you here.
Right,
No,
right.
no, I just don't want you here.
That's happened.
Yeah.
When I was married with my former husband, they would show up and sit in the room waiting for me for the next day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're sitting in the corner over there. And he'd be like, don't tell me that. I might have to get up to go to the bathroom. Are they still there? Like, and it's like, no, they're not going to bother you. But it's like, just wait your turn. I need to continue to live my life. And then if I tune them out, my younger daughter at the time could see. So she'd walk in and go, oh, there's a man sitting there. And I'm like, I know. So
you're like, oh, you can see that too?
We're not going to go there right now. Yeah, it's not time.
Oh, man.
So, and they'll learn. They're learning what's right for us, that works for us. So we're both learning.
And so that kind of brings me to another question, just still on the topic of mediumship. Do people, when people come to you, can they ask you who to call in, or is it more you just open yourself to
whomever,
the loudest voice in the room of who wants to come forward for this person? Or can you be specific about, like, I'd like to talk to so and so?
So I've done mediumship for a long, long time.
Okay.
And I find out that if I'm connecting with grandma and she's like, I never really wanted to connect with grandma, and we just spent 40 minutes doing it. So it works best for me to ask, well, what's the relationship of the person you want to connect with? I don't need a name. What's relationship? Let's go directly to that person. Mm-hmm. And I kind of learned that being tested as a medium too. They would give us, it's a male.
Okay.
Okay. And so who is that male? Is he a dad? Is he a brother? Who is he? And we would have to dissect that and go into deep questions and asking the spirit that. So I took it to continue to do that in mediumship reading. So like I add those on into my healing sessions. Is there a loved one that you miss? Is there a loved one that you want to connect with? And what's the relationship? Because why waste the time? Mm-hmm. We're going to sit there and go, we can get a lot of information. Now, they'll say, don't tell the medium anything. And most people will just get whoever they get. And your loved one will probably most likely come through if they want to speak. Mm-hmm. But that's just personally how I work.
Mm-hmm. So you would ask the person, what is the nature of your relationship with, mm-hmm. and they would be like, oh, that's my grandma, or I would like to connect with my grandma. But then,
or my child, or my son.
And then it's kind of, it could happen or it may not, but most of the time it does.
Most of the time it does. I did have a session just recently where I felt like I just was struggling to get her to come through. And she's like, yeah, I felt the struggle. And I'm like, I have to refund you that, because it's just, I know that she wasn't ready. And I think the person I was speaking with was also saying, I think it's going to come within me, probably when she's ready. So it was kind of like they both weren't ready. So that can happen. Yeah. And or I might get one was like, did he not like to talk? Oh, no, he was never a talker. And why did you think he would be now? Like, right? So personalities do show up. So not very often do you not have the connection. But yeah, we're all human, and it's not always going to be picture perfect.
And they still have their personalities on the other side that you're contending with. And they may not be ready for the healing or the connection, it sounds like.
Either them or they think their loved one's not ready.
Okay. Is that more often the case?
Yeah, I think.
Because I would think that, like, once you're over the rainbow bridge, as we dog owners, like that, I've understood that it's kind of everything is more clear and open and spacious and loving and okay.
It is clear, spacious, and loving. But if you had let's say, mother-daughter relationship that was very wrong, abusive, hurtful, and that mother comes in, oh, everything's great and loving. They're like, that's not my mom. So they have to show that personality of what they had here. And then come to the terms of why she was like that and how can they now blend and heal from what they went through.
And would that hypothetical example, I mean, you would hope that if there's a healing to occur, that that's why they'd come through. But would they ever come through if there's not an opportunity for a healing?
Most of the times during the healing sessions, they do show up and they do say some of the things that they have said. That's what's so miraculous about it. It's like, I know nothing about the relationship and they'll share it. It's fascinating. They've felt their loved ones. People feel them. I've had people see them. I had people smell them. I've embraced them. And just having that connection and taking them to a space that they can see their own self. This is the space created for you and your loved one. They can return to that space by listening to the recording over and over and continue growing that relationship. It's pretty amazing.
It's wonderful. And so are you, when you do these readings, maybe to move in a little bit to your intuitive healing abilities, just talking about, because you are more than just a medium. You had another experience where you kind of left your body and were healed and and came back with new gifts. Maybe we should just start there and talk about that.
Yeah, so I use my mediumship in my healings. So I don't do the traditional readings anymore. So I'll be connecting as you're healing other modalities and issues in your body. Then I am going to be starting, it'll be up on my website soon, a new format of reading that people can have. Not see them, but we connect in a way that we go greet them. So they're actually seeing, feeling what they would do in a healing, but now they don't really, maybe they don't need anything done in a healing, and they still want that connection. So I'm going to take what I usually do in my healing sessions and make it separate. So it's a whole new thing that we're going to be beginning soon. I'm excited for that because I see such a transitional healing that happens through it. In my healing sessions, I got the gift when I didn't know anything about healing. I only did mediumship. I was very, very sick.
What was wrong with you?
No, I had no idea what was
on a really confusing, difficult journey of, I feel like I'm dying, but nobody can say anything about it.
Yeah, no doctors could figure out what was wrong, but I was laying in bed for months, and that's no quality of me, but even for my children, my family, seeing me this way, I wasn't participating. I couldn't eat a teeny piece of bread or a little tiny sip of water without being extreme pain, like you're having a baby, like contractions. And I lost the ability to hold my bowels. Like it was just a quality of life that was not good. And so at that point I started praying, just take me. It's better for me and my highest good for my family. It's just take me. And I can remember laying in bed one day and spiritual surgeons showed up in my room, and I'm like, well, this is interesting. And I wasn't scared. I had the mediumship ability. I'm like, well, what's going to happen? And they started to work on me. When they worked on me, it was really, really painful. It's like I could actually feel them cutting over on my right. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then they started squeezing, like getting the pus out. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And I wanted to scream. And I was like, I don't think you can do this, but I know I have to. So what do I do? So I'm just going to breathe and try not to be present with what's going on and just relax. And when I did, and I just kind of took a deep breath in like this, when I let go with that breath going, I felt my spirit lift. I lifted out of my body. I could feel, wow. I'm floating. This feels good. Almost like you're being put under anesthesia. There's no pain. You're just floating. And I visually could see that now I'm in this space that's just surrounded in white light. And I'm okay. Now what? And now this bright light kept coming closer and closer to me. And I saw this figure with these beautiful hands and these arms. But now I'm seeing him holding me. And I recognized this person. I felt the love that I've never felt before, but I recognized it in who I call God. And so now I'm saying, I must be really sick. He's carrying me. So I proceeded to follow. He laid my body on a beam of light. And I can remember a beautiful coffin, like a glass coffin, like Snow White, going, can I go sit in that? Can I test that out? And better not. Here I'm being, this is kind of exciting. I get to be part of this. Right. And he's like, no, Deborah, just follow me. And I remember questioning every move. He took me into this, it looked like a dome, and we were going under this dome and in this dome. And why do we have to go in here? It's because what I share with you can't be shared with the universe. And I'm okay. And I can remember what felt like sitting at a table, feeling the presence behind me, and having this pad of paper in front of me. And I was told it was my lifeline contract. I was like, I don't even know what a lifeline contract is. Mm-hmm. So I never went back in pages, and I never went forward in pages. Mm-hmm. I just kept it at that page. Mm-hmm. And God was saying, sign it, sign the signature, and you will go back.
Because I just remember this, sorry to interrupt. Did he say that your purpose on earth had been fulfilled and that you were entering a new contract?
He had said, like, I was on borrowed time at that time, but that we could change this. Yes.
That is so fascinating to me.
And so the date was 1/21/12. He said, all numbers are reversible, and so is this. I'll be signing it with you. Like, we're taking an oath together. So one of the, there was several words that were written there. One was health. And I'm like, well, healthy, I'm not going back just with health. I need healthy. And one was a voice. And I always thought, well, yeah, I'll just continue my mediumship. Great. So signed it. But can I stay? Can I see my parents? I want to stay here. This feels great. I'm not in any pain. And God said no, because if I saw my parents and went to that space, I wouldn't want to come back. So I said, well, can I stay for a while? No, I need to go back now. And I can remember feeling like I was floating back. And if you've ever been held underwater and you come up because you need that air and you're like that, that's what I did when my body entered. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? And I was like, I better write this all down. Like, I'm going to forget. You don't forget. So I did. Now, I didn't become healthy right away. It wasn't like, okay, get in the body, my body's healthy. So that's why I try to say what I've learned from that is healing can be a process. You might have everything within you to integrate for you to be healthy, but you still have to go having that faith and walking through your healing journey. Yeah. And so I journaled and I went through my process that I needed to go through, things coming out of me that I didn't even realize that I was holding on to. And so that all, I ended up, it took 6 months till I was completely healed. And then I started, testing, could I, just like with my mediumship, I wonder if I could heal people. And I remember one of the family members, it was my husband's dad's friends, and they had a daughter that had tongue cancer. And they asked for a healing. I'm like, well, I'll try. And she was going to go into surgery that next day, and she didn't know if they were going to cut off her tongue. Like, that was, it was so serious. Well, it was so profound, and she got to keep her tongue. So I was seeing things happening that were out of my control and pretty miraculous, and hearing. I'm hearing words too. I'm seeing spiritual surgeons now coming in to work on my clients. I'm hearing loved ones coming through. I'm hearing words to give these people in my healing sessions. So it's all kind of coming in and working together. The mediumship and that voice now that I saw on that paper, the voice meant I was the voice and the instrument for the healings. And so I'll say things that I have no idea. Like, I'll be like done with a session and go, whoa. And you have to send it. It's audio taped. You have to send it. It could be across the world and go, well, that was wild.
And so are you a conscious channel? So you totally conscious of, I guess totally might not be the right word, but are you aware of everything that's going on as you're saying it?
Yes. So I plugged in, almost like plugged in, closed my eyes, pictures on my abdomen, and I say, okay, use me. And I'm going to voice it. I feel the pain where they're feeling. I feel where the spiritual surgeons are working. I speak maybe why it came and what's going on in their body. I can tell where it is and what it is. And then I might take them to another dimension to have a connection with a loved one. I might take them to another dimension to have words that God has to say. I might have to speak about something that happened in their childhood that they totally forgot about. And they're like, there's no way no one ever knew that. I've never even told that.
Right.
I mean, I've seen mothers that have had miscarriages or have had to have an abortion and felt guilty. Didn't tell me, but I see an angel bringing a baby and saying, there's no judgment on you. Do not judge yourself.
And you would
And
just
it's so
describe
freeing. It's like you're part of a movie and you're voicing, you're describing, and you're seeing all of it as a movie.
And you're feeling it.
And I'm feeling it too. And then I'm going, that was over here, and this is what they were doing.
Wow.
Yeah. And then to get the feedback. They're not listening at that time. So what's really amazing is they're just sitting in their quiet space. But like the last week, the girl emailed me and said, oh my gosh, I listened and I had taken notes what I was feeling, and they mirrored each other. And so that's amazing. I'd had it where I was like, okay, I feel like I'm going to throw up. I hope you're not throwing up on the other end. But I feel like I'm throwing up. And she was throwing up.
Oh my God.
So you just never know what you're walking into. Yesterday's session, I was down for the entire day. So I'll take only one session a day. Sometimes it won't affect me at all. And other times it'd be like, whew, that was heavy.
That is really interesting. Like the self-care that healers require. When I went through my own process, like my teacher would tell me, you need radical levels of self-care. And I would be like, what? I didn't even know the level at which I needed to self-care was so beyond what I thought I should do. And so it's nice to hear you say that too, just as permission for others who, have that expanded awareness, grappling with so much more than the average linear, just working on my computer, and not to minimize that. Everybody has their own purpose and place. But when we're talking about empath, but when we're talking about expanded consciousness, it takes you places, and you need often these really radical levels of self-care. I think it's important, so important to give ourselves permission to do that.
Well, I've learned to eat really healthy. Spirit has guided me that way. If I start to eat not healthy, my stomach won't accept it. So it's kind of like I eat very clean. I exercise, movement's medicine, right? I add my prayers into that. And I really, like I said earlier, I really always show up with my authentic self, because that's loving me. I'm loving myself through the process. One thing that I learned being on a healing table, when I was sick, I put myself on a healing table. One thing I learned is that through loving ourselves, no matter how frustrated we are with our body, because we've been sick for a while, or we're overwhelmed with taking care of someone else or work or the outside world, is give yourself permission to love yourself. And it's simple hug. You matter. You matter. And so I'll do that throughout the day. Hey, we got this, girl. And just talk to yourself.
I love that.
Because self-care is self-love. And honoring yourself that way is standing in your true self, your authentic self, and loving who God created you to be, no matter how it is.
And so however you are called to do that. So John, my husband, he was so cute yesterday. He was, for years, when I've come home from work, I've always called Magnus with my whistle. And he goes, I can't just stop doing that overnight, and I don't want to. So, and there's all these little things that we've been going, I think we're going to keep doing that. And I feed Magnus, my beloved Magnus, the peanuts still, because he loved peanuts. And I set him a little peanut out in the morning when we go feed the birds. And so John came down last night and did his little call for our dog. And he said, that just made me feel good. It was sad when he wasn't here, but it just made me feel good. And so I feel like self-love is kind of like that, giving yourself permission to be as
whatever works for you.
Well, you talk to yourself, do this, do that.
Yeah, but I also think you nailed it. It made you feel good.
Good.
And so if it's making you feel good, then there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. I also think that you're calling him in saying, still be here. We want you here. And it's like, oh, wow, they're calling me. I'm still going to be there. You might hear the thumping, of the feet at night or on the bed. You never know how they're going to show up. But trust that because you feel good. So does he.
Yeah. I think that getting oneself, and I think just on that topic of grief, because it's so dense, it's a different density, right? And so I've found that what helps me feel good is really important right now. Right?
It really is. And there's no right or wrong way to grieve, and there's no length of time that you need to grieve. So people go, aren't you done yet? It's like, don't ever say that to a person. It could be a lifetime. You always carry that in your heart. And then you'll just learn how to navigate through it and embrace the change when it's ready. But no, grief is here because we had the great love, right? So it goes hand in hand. I do know for anybody that's suffering, I want to mention this with grief. Anybody that's suffering, maybe they witnessed their loved ones suffer as they passed, or they passed traumatically, or maybe they passed peacefully, but they still don't know. Through my own NDE experiences and from connecting with spirit, what they've always said is, you will be taken out of your body before any suffering. You will not feel it. That's just the body going through it. So don't ever be afraid to die, because immediately you are safe, you are whole, and you are surrounded in love. And so I want anybody that's worried, where's somebody there with them, or what happened to them, that they understand that they weren't alone.
So especially with those chronic illnesses or the death that is gradual and slow, and your mind wants to think it's painful with pets, going back to my own experience,
right?
Like, a question that we can often have, like, is it painful? And I was reassured when I read that in your book that you have come back 3 times. And
I was taken, remember, there's a reason I was taken from impact.
Yeah.
I was taken so I could see that car wreck happening. I wasn't in that body anymore. But my body still wasn't touched yet. It had not, been crushed like it should have. And I can say with my entire being that you might witness, oh my gosh, and feel like I couldn't change that. But immediately you feel this sense of, I am okay, I'm whole, I'm safe, I have love surrounding me. But wow, that had to happen. They might say that, but no pain.
And I think that's so reassuring. And I want to footnote that and asterisk it and say that is, if you have any questions about the afterlife and the dying process, I mean, death is a big fear for most of us. That's reassuring. And to read your book and go to other resources if you want to, or go have a session with Debra.
Yeah, they do. Hospice has some books out there too, because they witnessed a lot. The kind of the process of how somebody passes, hallucinations and all of that too, so that if you are with a loved one that's passing, you can kind of see the steps, or at least have some tools to hold on to.
And to be peaceful, so that you can be peaceful in your heart with them, because ultimately what we're talking about is they are at peace. You will be at peace.
And just trust the process, because it's never our way, but it's always going to happen in divine way. It will.
Yeah.
Because we all are loved. We really are. There's not one of us that's not loved.
Yeah. I 100% feel that. That's always been a core truth that I come back to for myself in any situation I've been in, the hard ones, especially, and kind of figuring out ways to feel that, figuring out ways to get back to that peace and love. And I know that you said you would share a practice with us, but before, so Debra said she would share a practice to help us in moments when we're feeling anxious to kind of get back to that connected space. But I also I wanted to ask you this too about these. Why do they have to be? And maybe you don't know. Maybe you've asked your own connection, but oh my gosh, the level of adversity you had to go through to remember your gifts. And I felt for the human. I'm reading the story about these car accidents, and it's just, even though you were removed and you didn't feel all of that, your brain is seeing it and obviously thinking it happened.
Traumatic.
Yeah, it's traumatic. So I'm sure you had to do some healing work on that trauma.
Oh, yes. And I keep saying, okay, I'm done, right?
Yeah.
Because when I thought life was all great, I got hit with cancer. And what? Why? So here's something I've learned from Spirit.
Yeah.
We are embracing our bodies no matter what with love, but when we are struggling with a sickness, instead of fighting it, I sent love to it. I would sit at my healing table and I would say, okay, all right, Cancer, here we go. I don't know why you're here, but could you talk to me? Is there a lesson I need to learn? What is that lesson? So that maybe I could say goodbye to you. I'm not going to give you the power, because I know no matter what happens to me, whether I stay here or go to the other side, I'm good.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm really good. And once you kind of just settle into that, you're really free, and you're not struggling and having that fight.
Yeah.
That fight with cancer or that fight with an illness. And fighting is kind of resistant. Right? You're resisting what could be there. So I would just say, all right, it's my time to lay on this table and send love to my body. I love you. Yeah. And love heals in all instances. Think about children that, are sick, or somebody that just needs a hug. What that hug does, it raises that vibration. And so the other piece of that is, when you're feeling awful, like in any scenario, whether you're sick, taking care of somebody sick, whether you're going through drama in the family, whatever it is, the outside world, it's all there every day. It's going to hit you. Stop and say that, first of all, stop and say that you are okay, and let the noise stop. And we go back to self-love and loving ourselves, and love heals. It's like I was speaking and everything went out. I'm trying to come back to where the whole reason I was saying this. And I just really feel that, and this is what it was, that during these difficult times, there's one thing you could do. One little thing that I want you to do. And I remember this being really, really hard when I was having a really horrific day with my cancer. Find one piece of joy. That one piece of joy just shifted everything. It went from being like the doctor saying, are you okay? And I'm going, no, this is probably the worst day ever. And then, well, you know what? I see patients at this level and they're doing a lot worse than you. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a piece of joy right there. That just lifted my spirits. Or I just want to listen to the birds.
Yeah.
I just want to put my feet in the grass.
Yeah.
Or, just be grateful for the things you can do, because when you're stripped from them, you don't realize those little things are joy. We don't like to do laundry, but guess what? When you can start to do it again, you're like, that's my piece of joy. I got to do laundry today.
I've read like tales from the afterlife and from various authors, and it's just like these little things that we take for granted all the time, like washing our hair, that we have
Yes.
that we have here to take care of. Like,
it's the attitude of gratitude with everything that we have, but find that one piece of joy. It's going to raise the vibration.
Yeah, joy is huge, huge, huge. And that is one thing that Magnus the dog taught me in one of these critical health, because he had a lot of health crises, and I went through a lot with him. But I remember in like the very first, when we first got his diagnosis, I asked myself, and I didn't know if he was going to live. I asked myself, do I want to spend my last potentially hours in fear with this cutie, or do I want to spend it in love and just love him? And it just was like, boom. All of a sudden, I just was in love. I moved from fear to love. He was such a great teacher that way. I just feel similarly about joy, because joy is love. And
right. And you embrace the whole situation with love. Like I said, I was embracing my body with love. You decided to say, I'm going to embrace every moment I have with love and not the fear of the unknown, because we can't control that. Mm-mm. Right? Are you okay? But you are so in tune, telepathy wise with him, that you would know without him telling if he wasn't okay. Mm-hmm. So you really didn't have to worry.
No.
So that loving act really helped you and him.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something I learned over and over with him. Again, I knew when he needed to go to the vet, and I knew when he didn't need to go to the vet. It was just like, okay, that's how we're doing this. So it's super.
Good job for listening.
Thank you. That's what it's all about. That's what I feel it's all about. I feel like you're an expert listener too. You have to be doing the level of work that you're doing. Mm-hmm. It is a lot of inner listening. I wanted to ask you, are you cancer free now? Are you?
I am 5 years in. Yeah, cancer free. Yeah, thank you for asking.
Congratulations.
Yes. Yeah, it's a journey. It really is. But I walked with an attitude of gratitude the entire way. And that really helps.
So let's take that with us, because none of us gets through this life without illness, suffering, and we all have to leave in some fashion. And it's right.
So you want me to do that practice with everybody? Let's do that. Okay, so I want you to think of, I'm just going to explain it and then we'll do it.
Okay.
So imagine when a child gets frustrated, they throw themselves on the floor and they have a tantrum, right? They're letting it all out. Right? So it could be any time during the day. You have to be aware. Do you have anxiety? Mm-hmm. Are you overwhelmed? Are you overstimulated? How are you feeling where you need to stop at that moment?
Yeah.
It could be watching too much TV, anything, right? And you just feel that, in you. So what you do then is you stop, you set yourself aside, and then you're going to hold your body really tense, almost like that little boy that's having that tantrum. Everything tense. And then I'm going to count down by 5. 5 and holding it, right? And then when you're counting in and you held that breath, you're breathing in that peace. And then when we let go, our body relaxes, and everything that we were holding, we now just gave to God. And it releases and it resets the body back to the center, back to what it recognizes. So we can do it now that you know what to do. Okay. So remember, you're going to close your eyes, and then you're going to tense your entire body, your legs, arms, make fists in your hands. And now take a breath of peace and hold it. 5, 3, really tight. 2, 1, let it go. And breathe out. And can you feel the difference immediately? It just as your body relaxes. And so it resets itself. And it will always remember to go back to that space. So you can do it in the car. You can do it anywhere. Nobody knows what you're doing. But it's making that conscious intention, breathing in the peace. And I'm
breathing in the peace as you're holding that tension in your body. But
as I'm going to now let go of whatever I'm letting go of.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you're going with that intention. I'm going to let this go and give it to God. All the unknowns, the concerns, the worries, the stress. I'm overwhelmed, or just even anxiety. I don't want to say just, but sometimes we just have anxiety. We don't even know why we have it.
Yep.
But have the tantrum. That's your tantrum. You're holding it in.
You said that when you were talking about kids and like how kids let themselves have tantrums. I was like, yeah, kids do let themselves. And if you need to put on music and dance around and stomp your feet and do whatever, it's almost like sometimes we forget to transition too. I find like to recenter from, oh, I was on the internet soaking up all this stuff, or my mind was over here. And it can be as simple as walking from one room to another energetically, but we have to be intentional about that, right? And so your process there is like, it's a way of being intentional and shifting your energy from one state to another.
Yeah, and you can tell yourself, you can give yourself a hug afterwards, say, okay, I'm safe. I'm safe now. I'm good. And just feel it and be it and stand in it and then say, thank you, because it was, you're giving it to God. God took it. So thank you. Thank you.
That's right.
And it really does reset, and it helps anything. Because I know like sometimes you can get overwhelmed even with drama in the family. Like, oh my gosh. It's like, And so when the kid's having the tantrum, you want to stop it, but there's times you can't. Yeah. They're just letting it out. And that's what you're doing, is letting it out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I know. It's what I do with Qigong a lot, is set focus on the tension and release. When I work with my energy that way, the tension of the muscles and then the release.
Really? That's good.
Yeah. So just being in those, being conscious of that, that's just letting go. And that surrender is so important during times of uncertainty, during times of grief, feeling like you've suddenly been surprised by something, like as I have this,
right.
I was just came off a really good, actually one of the best vacations of my entire life and came home to that. So it was a huge surprise for me. But I think it's eclipse season. I'm an astrologer too. So it's eclipse season. There's more uncertainty in the air. And so just acknowledging, I think, that there are these little tools. Oh, I used to think I don't need those little tools.
I don't want them. So
I wish I didn't need them, but I need them.
You were on this fabulous vacation, almost like, I'm not going to have this happen in the middle of her vacation, so I'm going to wait. So there's blessings out of that. And then you come home and you're hit with this, but you're now in a space where if you had all that other stuff going on, here you're like, okay, now I got to go to transition into this. But it was transition from a beautiful space. You didn't bring anger back. You didn't bring stress back. You were in this already beautiful space to handle it. So I believe everything happened in divine order for you, not against you.
I think so too. And I actually think that my little dog chose that. Like my brain wants to split it into bad, good. I was in bliss. Then I do feel on that deeper level that he probably set it up that way. This is going to have to happen, Mom. And so why not have it happen when you are really in this lovely, blissed out, connected. And honestly, I just felt so connected and light filled when I came back. And I think
home that you were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
He gave you a part of that, to witness it, to be part of it, rather than I'll save her from it and I'll just do it while she's gone. Oh, you made it feel horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just beautiful how he loved you so much that he's like, no, I need to do whatever I can do to wait.
Mm. What a sweetheart. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you for that. Yes. I mean, Debra, my heart's been so tender around this. It's just like, even talking to you, I'm like, should I be talking about it so soon? But I really appreciate you, the work you do, the space you hold. From the moment I went to your Instagram page and I was like, oh, she's very similar to me. And I could feel the light coming at me. I could feel these, you were saying similar things that I say. So I was like, she's just heart. And so I really thank you for your connection, for all the hard work that you've had to do to be the person of service that you are. It's
and
no
same
small
to you.
feat. Yeah.
Same to you. Like
Yeah.
it is hard work, and it is intention, and it is trust, and it takes work, but we love it.
Yeah. I mean, what else are we here for?
That's what I say all the time.
To connect others to their own heart and to the love all around them and to the healing and the miracles. So thank you. I think it's a good place to stop.
I'll just share with people how to get a hold of me.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Please.
Okay. So Debra Martin Healer, that's my tag name. So you can find that through my websites, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Debra Martin Healer, and it's Debra. I also want to share with people that on my website, I just put up 8 new meditations that were all guided by spirit for different reasons. So I'm excited to share that. I do have a newsletter that goes out once a month at the first day of the month. And anybody that subscribes gets free meditation. And I always have that, like a 6-minute guided meditation that spirit chooses of the choice of whatever matter is going on. Mm-hmm. So that's there. I also host a free community. I have a free community that gathers once a month, the first Tuesday of every month, called Army for Love, where we join and hold each other's hands around the world, sharing with no judgment what we're going through and holding each other's hands and really working through things together, topics. But at the end of that session, I also give a free mini healing for people that are in need. And we've seen miracles right in front of us happen. So, and then don't forget that I do my private healing sessions and I also do group. So there's a lot of different things that you can learn about me, but yeah, just search Debra Martin Healer. It's all there.
Where can we find your books?
That you can go right on my website. It says books, and they're all on Amazon as well.
Okay. So I find that was always a great place to start as an author. So yes. And your group healings sound interesting. I was like, So there are a lot of different ways to check out Debra's work.
Right. And it's all self-explanatory on the website. But if they have questions, just email us. We'll happy to guide them and answer any questions that you may have. Perfect. It's been such a lovely conversation and getting to meet you. I wish we didn't live so far. I always, I meet people like you and I'm like, oh, that's my soul friend. I need to be around her.
I know. You would think it would be so easy for healers to find each other, but it's actually, we're kind of rare birds.
Well, we're all placed different places so that we can work those places, but it'd be so nice to just hang out and say,
yeah, well, come to Hawaii. Everybody loves Hawaii, and Honolulu is a great place because, as I said earlier, it is that combination of like cosmopolitan and urban, but it's still Hawaii. So there's people here who have employment and can spend money on healings and can like do workshops and stuff like that. So yeah, it is a sacred space. Hawaii is a sacred space. I always feel it. I feel grounded there. It's one of my favorite places to go to get recentered. I love it too. And the Southwest is gorgeous, which you were in Arizona and I grew up in New Mexico. So. Oh, nice. So you are in a space where that would be vacation for me every day. Yeah, nice. And I go to the Southwest for vacation now. So. Want to switch houses? Yeah, we could. That is a conversation. That is a conversation I'm open to having, actually. So. Come here. You'll love it. I'll go there. Yeah. Yeah, seriously. And how old is your dog? 7. Little Yorkie. Mm-hmm. Oh, Yorkie. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
It's actually my daughter. She got it for her 16th birthday, and I was like, this is going to become my dog. And I wasn't ready for another dog. And then I was like, now it's mine, and I don't know what I would do without it. And so she's like, you could never give me that dog. And I go, probably not. I don't think it would be fair to the dog either. It's always been here. So now every time I leave town, I'm like, you need to come here. This is your part of your duty. Take care of the dog.
That's hilarious.
It doesn't always work that way.
I saw when I was doing a reading for myself the other day. I saw a Yorkie, and in my reading, my question was about how to help myself through grieving. So that's funny that you said that. It was a Yorkie with a little bow.
And so it would be really fascinating. I know that the room would be filled with so much love and spirit guided. And Suresh, he's really good at doing meditations and connecting you to how to find that inner just be, to find yourself. Mm-hmm. So he's
feel free to pass on like my contact info to him, or there's no better place to do that kind of work. I think, in my own unbiased opinion, Hawaii is just,
No, I've always had. He lives in Carlsbad, so that's on the beach by San Diego.
Okay,
and so I was like, yeah, we could do it there. But I've always just had this connection with Hawaii. And I'm like, how can I make that happen? And I'm sure he would do it too. So I just have to, I'll put you two together, and then you can get to know and feel him without telling. We won't say anything about, working together. Because if you don't feel that piece, maybe he's not supposed to be part of that piece. Like you just feel it in here without, it has to be organic and all fit.
Yeah.
And it might not. It might be like, no, this needs to be a women's retreat. I don't know.
That doesn't mean you couldn't come here. A person who I've known for years she's amazing. She did a posthumous novel writing. So she's channeled her past lives into novels, but she does past life regressions. So I already had her kind of like sign up. And so
you could get a group of people together that would do all different hours of the day. Mm-hmm. That would be really cool.
People are drawn to different things too. Like it hasn't always been my thing to do. At different times we want different things. So.
Right, but I'd be totally down to coming to something like that where I would be able to do healing, talk about how it's going to work. Probably you'd have it in your little, what they're signing up for. Mm-hmm. And then, that would be really
How big are the events that you've done in person before? How many people do you typically like to work with?
I haven't done an event for a long time, but for my groups that are distant, they can go up to 70 people. Mm-hmm. I try to keep it under 100 because in a room, it doesn't really matter if you're in person. Mm-hmm. But when I'm taking on people, usually around 30 to 35 seems average. Mm-hmm. When I'm doing it distant, I'm praying on each person. Sometimes they send me everything they want in prayer. So it could take me 2 hours just to get through that before I do the healing.
Wow.
So I don't have to do that when I'm in front of group.
Right.
To know what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So that's why there's really doesn't have to be a limit.
Yeah.
It could be small and intimate. I always believe that spirit just guides what's supposed to be.
Okay. I was like, my house has been it's not really big enough. How many people have I gotten in here? I think we've gotten 20.
Wow.
Here. Yeah, I know. You wouldn't think. Because there's the back lanai, the front lanai. So we've done that we've done a couple of half-day retreats here with some other healers. But I don't know. I kind of would want you to have like opportunity to go bigger. So yeah, let's keep it. I'll keep it in mind.
We'll just put it like have spirit guide it. So like if something happens, somebody will say, "Hey, Jessica,
I have this great space."
Yeah, you just don't know, and there's no urgency. It just will happen.
Let's just invite and allow. I like to say,
invite
and allow whatever is meant to come into alignment for us.
Yeah, that we're both open to the possibilities of what Spirit wants.
That is 100% correct. I think we are the same.
I feel like this entire time I was looking at me, I'm like, I look a little orange. I wish I had more lighting in here.
You don't look orange. You look great. I feel like I went swimming and I started to get sunburned a little bit.
You're so lucky that you can just tune on and be like you went swimming.
Huh? What's that?
You just tuned in after you went swimming?
Yeah.
To be able to be that beautiful.
You are very sweet. You are very sweet. I feel more beautiful when I'm relaxed and in flow. And I've, like the certain activities we do to stay in the zone and, who we are. That's one of them for me.
That's great. Here I stress over all the lighting and I should have been just like in my kitchen, like you going, it is what it is.
That's kind of how it works around here. My friend we used to joke, she would get facials and I'd be like, the best form of facial I've ever gotten is an energy work session. I just look better when I do my energy work. And so actually I started using that when I've offered little mini classes. I've been like, I don't get facials. This is my natural face. I don't get Botox. I'm not wearing makeup. I just do energy practices. Do you want to do it with me? And they're like, okay.
So you're just doing energy on your face?
No, I just do energy in my body. Yeah.
Oh,
keeping my energy clear.
That's true.
That's really all it is.
It shows like you are just naturally beautiful.
Likewise.
Oh,
you're holding the mirror up, and
I'm like struggling with this whole light thing. Going, I'm going to.
Debra, can I ask what your astrological sign is? Is that too invasive?
Oh, like I'm a Capricorn.
Your sun sign? You're a Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just like, because what you do seems so Piscean, so you must have like what we call Neptune or Pisces energy in astrology, where it's about connecting with the realms beyond. But you are also very much on path, very in your integrity, very much on a mission, which is quite Capricorn. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Life's good, right?
Yeah, it is. If we just keep remembering. So keep coming back.
I try to let all the unknowns not get to us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I will then let you go. I know it's late there or later there.
Yeah.
And you can have a good sleep. And it was such a pleasure. Again, thank you. And I really do hope we connect again.
Yeah, I would love to stay even in connection if you ever want to just grab a tea online.
Aww.
We could say, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
thank you for that invitation.
So thank you for being you. Thank you for the work that you do.